What's up, Bama football, Bama Nation? What's going on? Yours truly, Stephen Smith, here with you, and I want to let you guys kind of just soak in, kind of get the full feeling out of what took place earlier today with Bama suffering the loss there to Michigan, the ReliaQuest Bowl. Bama losing 13-19 for the first time in 17 years. We're talking about the Crimson Tide not finishing with at least 10 wins. It finishes the regular season this time around at 9-4. A lot of you are highly frustrated. A lot of you are highly disappointed. This leaves a sour taste in the mouths of so many of you. And the question that we're all asking ourselves right now is, okay, Kalen DeBoer, what's your next move? Kalen DeBoer, where do you go to from here? Right? Because that's everybody's thought process, that's everybody's question. And for some of you that may feel like, this is terrible, this is awful, a horrendous season, Saban would have never had this happen. Where's the Alabama that I know? Where's the Alabama that I love? Where's the Alabama that I grew up watching that struck fear? Where is that Alabama football? Well, first and foremost, Coach Saban's never coming back as the head coach. That's the first thing that we all have to accept. Nick Saban is never coming back as the head coach of Alabama football. He's not. And even though he's an advisor to the coaching staff, he is never going to overstep his boundary, right? So he's never going to overstep his boundary. He's never returning to the head coaching seat. So the Saban time, the Saban era, the Saban standard, that was all with Coach Saban. Saban is never coming back as the head coach. So right now, the focus is on Kalen DeBoer. What does he define as success? What does he define as failure? What does he define as his standard, his culture? How does he want Alabama football to look? How does he want it to feel? How does he want it to be perceived? This is Kalen DeBoer's time to do this right here. So as much as we hate it, as much as we can't stand it, as much as it absolutely sucks to lose, and it does, right? And you as Alabama football fans, you want the best from your program. Like, you want your program to kick everybody else's program's teeth in. Like, you want your program to dominate every single program that they go up against. And I mentioned to you before, as Crimson Tide fans, when you see your program not excelling to the level of excellence you want to see it excel at, it's okay to call it out. It's okay to call it out, right? Because that makes you a fan that wants your program to win that badly. So in the case here of Coach DeBoer, it's right now, what do you do, Coach DeBoer? As the head coach, what do you do from here? I felt like defensively, the team did all it could do. The team did all it could do defensively. You give Kane Womack credit. The guys came out there, they played hard, they flew around, they did everything they could do. Yes, Justin Jefferson, the 15-yard personal foul, I get it. But DeBoer, the defense did everything y'all it could do. It really did. You got an interception from Xavier Brown. Guys were making plays all over the field. The offense put the defense in so many bad situations. The offense, 4 turnovers, including a turnover on downs. You can't have that. Michigan's starting field position was Alabama's 25-yard line. And for the defense to hold Michigan to 3-4 field goals, I think Bama only gave up, 1 touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. Defense did all it could do. This one right here is on the offense. I mean, James Smith played well defensively. Run the Table Sports TV, you're correct. James Smith played well. Zay Mincy did some good stuff. Deshaun Jones did some good stuff. Bray Hubbard played like Bray Hubbard normally plays. Steps up big. Tim Smith played with a lot of heart. Jordan Renard played well. Guys on defense played well. And defensively, you played well without Deontay Lawson, without Malachi Moore. You played well. That one right there is on the offense. That one right there is on the offense. And I don't know what is going to be the move with Nick Sheridan. I don't know. For a lot of you as fans, it's let him go elsewhere, get him out of here. That's a lot of you as fans, and I don't blame you, Bama Nation, for feeling that way. I absolutely don't. I don't know what is going to become of Nick Sheridan. I don't know. But right now, if you're Kalen DeBoer, you got to look at some coaching staff changes. That's one of the first things. You got to reevaluate the staff, and some changes have to happen. Some changes have to happen. They have to. I mean, I understand, for DeBoer, his number one guy backed out. That was Ryan Grubb. He chose to go to the NFL and coach the Seattle Seahawks. I get that. So you are kind of sort of backed into a corner with this decision to go to Nick Sheridan. I get that. I understand that. But some changes need to be made. Some changes have to happen. Because for this to be an explosive offense, you only put up 13 points against Michigan. You could only muster up, 17 points against Tennessee. You only put up 3 points against Oklahoma. And this is an explosive offense. And Kalen DeBoer, this is your side of the ball. You are supposed to be the offensive-minded head coach. And it's your side of the ball that's been struggling. And that's the part that's the most frustrating. It's your side of the ball. It's Kalen DeBoer's side of the ball that's the side that's been struggling. So there has got to be some off-season changes made here on this coaching staff. Something's got to happen. Something's got to happen. You got to have to evaluate where you are at OC. You got to evaluate where you are in terms of the O-line coach. I mean, you got to evaluate this coaching staff. You have to. If you're Kalen DeBoer. If you are Kalen DeBoer, you got to, because you look at this game offensively, folks. 4 turnovers. You didn't move the ball. You gift wrapped at Michigan points. Offensive line couldn't block at all. You got to get some offensive tackles. I mean, good grief. You got to get you some offensive tackles. I don't care if it's in the portal. I don't care if it's in recruiting. You got to get you some offensive tackles. That needs to happen. That needs to happen here. Whether you take Caden Proctor and slide him in as an offensive guard, you got to get you some offensive tackles. Some guys that can move, that got good, quick feet, that can establish and reestablish, that have consistent hand strike, punch strike. You've got to get better at the tackle position. You had several wide receivers out there that were extremely frustrated. Jeremy Bernard, quite a couple of times getting into Milroe's face. Ryan Williams looking disgusted. There was a moment Rico Scott was wide open in the end zone. If Milroe sees him and throws it, that's a touchdown. Receivers were getting open. Milroe not letting go of the football. Offensive line not providing enough time. And Michigan did this with several of their defensive stars not even playing in this game. So much of Michigan's production was not on the field. These were second and third stringers, guys, giving it to Alabama, wanting it more than the Crimson Tide. These were second and third stringers. That's embarrassing. These were second and third stringers showing you we wanted more than Alabama. And this one's gonna sting for a minute. This one's gonna sting. This was a hard one to watch. This is gonna sting for a minute. But DeBoer, the number one thing he's got to do, he's got to reevaluate this coaching staff, man, from top to bottom. He's got to reevaluate the staff. He's got to look at these players right here. This is going to be a very interesting offseason, folks. Very interesting. We get some comments right here. Run the Table Sports TV. Look at my guy, Steve. Appreciate you, Run the Table, being in here. Matthew Pate. Hey, brother. What's up, Matthew? Happy to have you in here. Run the Table Sports. We ride with Coach Kalen DeBoer. Hey, DeBoer ain't going anywhere, but he's got to make some serious evaluations, decisions this offseason. Ask Bama Girl 26, what's going on? Happy New Year's Eve, Stephen. Happy New Year to you. Ask Bama Girl. From writes in, the thrill is gone. Season's over. Now the real work begins this offseason. Run the Table Sports, love him. Getting his guys in there, his roster, his scheme will be in effect next season. Let them rock. Hey, we will see here. Run the Table, defense came with it. Yes, they did. Defense did everything they could do. Everything they could do to keep that game close. So that's what they did. They kept it close. They kept within reach. Joe Willie, replace Nick Sheridan, please. We will see what type of evaluations, what type of decisions, what type of moves will DeBoer make this offseason. Matthew Pate again. James Smith will be great next year. He was a bully out there. He made some plays. From all eyes on Bama OC 2025. What will Kalen DeBoer do at that position? Run the Table Sports. James Smith played lights out, and Bam Bam Mincy balled out. ZB got down. The defense played well. And you do this without Malachi Moore. You do this without Deontay Lawson. The defense got down. Roll Tide and rise up. What's going on? Defense played well. Offense once again stunk up the place. That's what happened. That's what happened. This was Raiders on the offense. Ask Bama Girl 26. Coach KD has got to grow a pair. He has to demand accountability and create a standard for these players and stop trying to be friends with these players. They need to be coached correctly. Ask Bama Girl 26. There you go. We need coaching changes now. From writes in, hard to find experienced OC. Well, if they go the route of away from Nick Sheridan, they're going to have to find somebody this offseason. Roll Tide and rise up. Sheridan doesn't need to be an OC at Alabama. Run the Table Sports. I'm rolling with Jamarcus Shepard as OC. Well, he does have passing game coordinator experience going back to his time at Purdue. So that could be interesting right there. Ask Bama Girl 26. This was one of the worst games I have ever seen Bama play in following such a good run we had. Tough. So hard to watch this football game. From Nick Sheridan is on the job training as OC. Ask Bama Girl. He was given the keys to success. All he had to do was hire the right people. His offense doesn't work in the SEC. Ask Bama Girl. A lot of this was geared to the guy he wanted to bring in, DeBoer, to be the OC, backed out. And so when Coach Grubb backed out, DeBoer didn't have a fire plan B prepared. I know we're always taught to have a plan B, sometimes even have a plan C, but when DeBoer's plan A backed out and said, hey, I'm not coming with you, my guy. I'm going to the NFL to coach the Seahawks. DeBoer did not have a fire plan B ready to go. And because he did not have a fire plan B ready to go, it came back to bite him there. With Joe Willie, everyone is going to keep making excuses for him. Run the table. We love our guy Milroe to life, but it's time. Don't you think about coming back for the season? The NFL is calling young guns time to shine. I think Milroe is headed off to the league. Run the table. I honestly feel like when he leaves, it will open everything for everybody else. Run game, pass game, true stuff there. From if staff changes happen, I will be very surprised. That's my man From right there. Ask Bama Girl. He needs to watch film over the offseason and be dedicated to coaching in the SEC. I feel he didn't have anything prepared for this game. He could have gone to Saban for advice on this game. Could have went to Saban for advice, but once again, Coach Saban is not one to overstep the boundary. He understands this is Kalen DeBoer's team. He's going to let Kalen DeBoer run it the way he wants to. I know Saban is an advisor to the program, so if you want to go in there and ask him a question, you can, but Saban's not going to force you to ask him anything. You're Kalen DeBoer, you got to want to go in there and ask Saban that question, but it is what it is there. Let's see around the table. I just hated to see the guys getting frustrated. You could see it clearly. You could. All game long, you saw the frustration. Run the table. I just hope we didn't run Jeremy off to the league. Ask Bama Girl. I think it's time to bring in former players and get them on the coaching staff. I would love to see Bo Scarborough on our coaching staff. I mean, here's the thing, though. A lot of the former players that came under Nick Saban, right? Will this generation of athlete listen, right? Because with this generation of athlete, it's you got to coach me a certain way. You don't coach me in the way I like to be coached because I'm making money now, name, image, likeness, and I'm not feeling how you coaching me. I'm gonna run off to this portal and go somewhere that's going to coach me the way I like to be coached, right? So you bring a lot of these people from the former Saban players to be on this DeBoer coaching staff. Not saying it would not be a good idea to try. I think it would, but would those players take to that type of coaching? That's my thing right there. J_A_85. It was tough to watch, my man. It was tough to watch. From writes in, the weight is killing me. Will Milroe return? Man, I don't think he is. Of course, when he puts his decision out there on social media, he'll put it out there, but I don't think he is. Run the table. At last, our new signees know they're going to play next. We need all of them. It's time to see this DeBoer 2025 recruiting class, his first class, go to work. Ask Bama Girl. If he doesn't do better, he's out of here in 2026. Donors are not going to invest into the Tide if we are not winning natties. Hey, ask Bama Girl 26. You said something right there. I have seen and heard from quite a few Bama ticket holders, season ticket holders, that I've said, hey, if Bama don't clean this up, I'm not buying another season ticket. I've heard quite a few season ticket holders that have been holding tickets here for 20, 30 years that I've said, hey, if DeBoer don't clean this up, Bama don't clean this thing up, I'm not buying another season ticket. Joe Willie writes in, he has to fire Sheridan and whoever the O-line coach is. Need to be some moves here made in the offseason. Ask Bama Girl, hit that like button on your way in. Absolutely, hit the like button. Show that support. Show that support. Let's see here. Steve, what happened to the equipment crew today? No tape for the players, no extra rain cleats. You knew it was raining. That put us in a hole. That's the other question. The equipment team. Were they locked in? Where were they? Because guys were slipping and sliding everywhere. There was no tape for the shoes. The guys did not have adequate equipment early and often to start that game. So run the table. But that's a good question. Nick Saban Jr. I believe once we get a better quarterback and work on the offensive line, I believe it will get better. Nick Saban Jr., you get Keon Russell in here. You got Ty Simpson. You have Austin Mack. You got, this offseason coming up right here. We're going to see what we can do here. Let's see, from Milroe must have a can't bench me contract. Man, look, with this NIL, man, and this is what I'm saying. I understand how much Milroe has meant to this program. And he means a lot. I understand that. But there comes a point where when your quarterback is struggling and you see it, and you see visible frustration on the faces of your wide receivers, you as a coach, you got to make a decision to sit that guy down, cool him off, put somebody else in. I mean, for goodness sake, I know the Saban era is over. Saban hasn't been coaching a whole year, whole season. But when stuff like this was happening, we saw Saban pull a quarterback in a minute. We saw him pull Jalen Hurts on the biggest stage possible, national championship, for crying out loud, to go to Tua Tagovailoa. Nick Saban went in that locker room that game and said, we all know the move that has to be made right now. Jalen Hurts was 26-2 as a starter. Nick Saban said, I don't give a flip about that. We have no life out here, no juice, no offense. We got to make a change. They made the change, and a national championship happened because of it. I mean, we saw Nick Saban 2015 against Ole Miss start Cooper Bateman. Wasn't the best decision in the world, but at least we know Saban had the nerve to, if Coker was struggling, start Cooper Bateman. And then when he realized Cooper Bateman wasn't it either, hey, go back to Coker, right? We even saw this against South Florida last year. Like, you benched Milroe to put out Tyler Buckner. We recognized Buckner wasn't it. Then you go to Ty Simpson and you win a football game in Tampa. So, it's just wild. Run the table sports. Grubb was not the solution. He is terrible in Seattle right now. From also thanks Run the table for pointing that out. Let's see here, Deo. If Milroe comes back, I'm in the transfer portal leaving Bama. There's Deo. Ask Bama Girl is with Deo on that. Joe Willie, it's not all on Milroe. If you put Tom Brady back there with no protection, same results. Even the equipment staff didn't have the right cleats. Hey, the equipment staff wasn't prepared. Offensive coordinator wasn't prepared. Offensive line wasn't prepared. A total team debacle. A total team debacle on this one, absolutely. Just a total team debacle. Appreciate all of you guys giving your thoughts here on the show. All of you guys chiming in, absolutely. Let's see here. Trails for All says, this was Jalen's game to lose. He also writes in, we should have thrown the purse at DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco was out there. He was out there, but, he's in the NFL. And he's doing a great job. He's doing a fine job with the Houston Texans. Doing a fine job right there. But, I mean, this is going to be, people, a very, very, very intriguing offseason. I'm looking forward to this because I want to see the coaching changes that are made, if there are any. I want to see what this spring practice may have in store. How much pushing does Keelan Russell do? Can the offensive line ever get back to just mashing and mauling and dominating up front? Can the defensive line get back to having closers up front that have a quarterback scared to death of them? I'm just saying. Run the Table Sports TV. Hey, Nick would replace a coach quick. Nick Saban will replace a coach quick. That's one thing. Saban wasn't about hiring buddies. Saban will replace somebody quick. I mean, Saban didn't care too much for Lane Kiffin, but Saban hired him. Saban sure hired him. So Saban wasn't one for hiring buddies. Saban was one for, I'm getting the person in here that can do this job and can do this well. From writes in, top to bottom, everyone on offensive staff needs to shake up. Hey, we're going to see this offseason from what happens. Ask Bama Girl. I'm going to try to find a positive in 2025. Spring is just around the corner. There you go, Ask Bama Girl. There you go. Spring football is right around the corner. You get to see this recruiting class that DeBoer has brought in, how many guys can contribute from this class. We're going to get to see, guys like Richard Young, stepping up more. Jam Miller's back. He's back. Parker Brailsford's back. So, going to be interesting. Steve, we don't have to get rid of Nick Sheridan. Just move him back the tight ends coach where he was. If you move Sheridan to tight ends coach from the table, what do you do with Brian Ellis, who is currently the tight ends coach? Where do you move him? If you take Nick Sheridan from the table and you make him a tight ends coach, which I wouldn't be against that, but where do you put Brian Ellis, the current tight ends coach? Where would you move him? That'd be the question. Where would you move him? Would you move him to an analyst? I mean, funny story though. Brian Ellis does have experience as an OC. He did call offense at Georgia State, or Georgia State or Georgia something the last few years before coming to Alabama. So would you take Brian Ellis and move him to OC? If you move Nick Sheridan, the tight ends coach, I mean, I'm just giving a thought out there. Just giving a thought out there. But it's gonna be an intriguing offseason, folks. I know, Bama Nation, that this is not what y'all wanted. This is not how y'all wanted the season to end. I know. This is not how I wanted the season to end. Absolutely not. But the season ended this way. We don't like it. We can't stand it. But this is where you point to the offseason and you look at Coach DeBoer and you go, hey, how do you handle this? How do you move forward? Where do you go to from here? Run the table. Jamarcus is my guy. He has the energy. So run the table's got Jamarcus Shepard as the OC. It's going to be interesting. It's not all on Milroe. Here's from. This offensive scheme doesn't fit Milroe. Not on Milroe, offensive scheme doesn't fit Milroe. And with Milroe, I mean, he's looked at. Live draft pundits have him number 3 quarterback on the board. Despite today's game, will he remain in that spot? We'll see as the offseason kicks off. Then you also have the transfer portal, could hop in that portal. If he wants to continue playing college football, could definitely hop in that portal, go somewhere and see what he can become. Run the table sports. Let's see here. Watch how everything opens with J4 gone. Watch. Hey, man, look, I'm telling you. This spring is going to be intriguing. This spring is going to be exciting. But despite the loss here for Alabama, like I mentioned, kudos to the defense. Kane Womack had those guys playing hard. I mean, James Smith did well. Zay Mincy played well. Brayson Hubbard did his thing. Deshaun Jones did his thing. Xavier Brown had a pick. Jordan Renaud played well. T.M. Smith, final game, played well. I mean, the defense did everything you could have asked them to do. They really did. So, got to give a shout out there to Coach Womack and that side of the ball. Hey, another positive, Graham Nicholson made a field goal. 51 yards. I mean, we've been looking at, what's his face? Will Reichert, now in the NFL, kicking big for the Vikings. Does Alabama have that next big leg? Here comes Graham Nicholson, who hasn't had just a whole lot of opportunities this year, but he did make a 51-yard field goal today. So that's some positive you can take right there. Run the Table Sports 2025 is upon us. Happy New Year, everyone. God bless you all. Yes, want to tell everybody, have a great New Year, folks. Have a great new year. For those of us on Central Standard Time, like myself, it's almost 9 o'clock. We're getting ready to open up here a new year here. So excited about it, pumped up about it. But just wanted to come on here to get your thoughts, get your conversation here, just reacting to this loss to Michigan to end the 2024 season for the first time in 17 years. Bama not having a 10-win campaign. What does Kalen DeBoer do? How does Kalen DeBoer go about this offseason? We shall see what happens moving forward. But I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith here. Appreciate each and every last one of you guys for checking me out here in this reaction. Rolling for the SEC. We'll be back. We'll be with you guys throughout the offseason. Be having, live shows and things in the new year. Hey, appreciate all of you guys.